I am diligence.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the I Am Podcast, where your voice matters. Today's spotlight is focused on a multi-sport athlete with an unstoppable motor. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mikayla Green.
My name is Mikayla Green, and I'm going to be sharing my story about how I came to love the game of basketball and some of the obstacles I have overcome and I'm learning to overcome. Growing up, I was always around sports. My parents always had me in some kind of extracurricular activity because I was such an active kid. I first started out doing tumbling, which led me into doing gymnastics. I stayed in that for a couple years, then switched over to ballet. I stuck with ballet for a while until my parents decided to put me in t-ball and basketball. Growing up playing t-ball, I was the only girl on the team. The rest of the team was all boys. Even though I was young, it never crossed my mind that I was the odd one out. When I practiced or played with the boys, it was always like I was one of them. However, at the same time, I was also in basketball while I was playing t-ball. I stuck with t-ball for a while until I decided I just wanted to play basketball. Growing up, my mom's company that she worked for would give us courtside tickets to the Rockets game. Therefore, every home game the Rockets played at the Toyota Center, we would be there, courtside, watching the game. We even got to sit in the suites on occasions. After going to games and watching the Rockets play, one day I decided to pick up a basketball and start dribbling. And from that moment on, I fell in love with the game of basketball. Just like every other kid growing up playing basketball, I was put in a little league. I did not start playing AAU until 5th grade. My first AAU team was called the Bombers. We were very unexperienced and young. We only would play in local tournaments because we hadn't been exposed to the live period and out-of-town tournaments yet. After playing for a while, I started to feel like everything I did on the basketball court had to be perfect. I started to form a mentality to where if something I did wasn't exactly how it was supposed to be, then it was just flat out wrong. I was the type of person that if I was learning something or being taught something, I would do it over and over until it was right. I've also been the type of person to catch on to things fast. Once you show me once or twice, I can figure it out. Since I was in middle school, I didn't exactly have that much pressure on me because I was still young and just wanted to play basketball to enjoy the game. During 7th grade, my parents decided to put me in training for basketball to help my skill level because although I was athletic, I also lacked certain things to help better my game. During 7th grade, even though I played basketball outside of school, I decided I was going to run track. When I started track, I found out that the meet days were on the same days as my trainings. However, I still decided that I wanted to stick to running track. Looking back on how everything fell into place, I think this was the first step into leading me to become stressed and start putting pressure on myself. One thing I do consistently is I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself because 1, I want everything to be exactly how it needs to be, and 2, I feel like a lot of people are relying and counting on me, and one main thing I hate doing is letting people down or not living up to expectations. Fast forward to my sophomore year of high school, I was attending Clements High School. Until my junior year of high school, I had to transfer into Manvel High School. This was a huge change for me because I was moving into a new area with people I didn't know, and I was moving away from people I had grown up with since elementary school. Personally, I have never been good with changes because I had never experienced any change into my life until then. I was nervous, but I was also excited that I would get the chance to meet new girls and have the opportunity to play with some new people. The first couple of weeks were hard because I knew no one at the school. However, once I was introduced to the basketball girls, I automatically clicked with them. I was put in the varsity period and I was told I was going to be a starter on the varsity team. We started preparing for the upcoming season and playing in preseason tournaments and even fall ball leagues. I started to build a strong bond with the girls from playing with them in scrimmages and in practice. I was so excited and ready for the upcoming season, I had felt like I had something to prove to everyone who had heard about the new girl. 3 days before the official game of the season, that was the first home game, my coach broke some bad news to me. He told me that something had gone wrong with my transfer paperwork and that I was going to have to play JV this year. After hearing that news, I went home and cried. I was so upset that I was going to have to sit and watch the girls I had been building a bond with and play with the girls that I had never played with before. The first couple of games I played on JV, I had no desire to be there. I had no energy or anything before or during the games. I felt as if there was no point in playing school ball. I felt like I had worked too hard and studied the varsity game too much to be put down to a JV level. After a couple weeks, I finally came to realize that certain things happen to certain people for a reason, and that me being put down to JV did not change the type of player that I was, and that it didn't define my skill level. Therefore, I decided that I was going to dominate on the JV team that year and show people that just because I was on the JV level doesn't mean I was a JV player. After realizing that I wasn't going to experience the varsity tournaments and the out-of-town games, I decided I was going to prepare for the next upcoming year when I do play varsity. At this time, the level of pressure on my shoulders and stress started to build up because I had to basically play catch-up for the next upcoming season. I started to go to training sessions late at night after school practices to prepare for next year. During the sessions, I started to get frustrated and mad at myself if something I did wasn't exactly right. I would shut down completely and the rest of my training session would just be a waste of time. But the only reason I would get frustrated at myself is because I felt like I had to get it perfect, because I was playing catch-up and I had no room for errors. My trainer that I was working with became my mentor over time and started talking to me about a lot of things that I had going on. She made me realize that while I was trying to please everyone else and making everyone else happy, I lost focus on why I played the game in the first place. Focusing on making everybody else happy made me lose my focus on having that love and drive for the game and wanting to do it because I wanted to do it. I started to talk things out and write in a journal to help overcome stress and pressure I was putting myself under. Gradually, I started to overcome obstacles that I struggled with for years. I even started to notice problems that had been there in front of me all along, but I didn't see until now. I realized I was beating myself over things I couldn't control, and also I was trying to meet everybody else's needs at the same time. Another thing I came to understand was that I was looking for reassurance with everything. If I did something, I would look for my parents for approval, no matter if it was in the game, after a game, or during training. I finally had to realize that I couldn't do that. I couldn't try to meet everybody else's needs and not have acceptance for myself after I did something. Right now, I'm working on finding out who I am as a person and as a player. Although I haven't found the true answer to this question, it's helped me take a huge weight off my shoulders and become more relaxed. Yes, I still have the pressure of having to make up time and the mindset of wanting to do everything right, but I don't let it take my focus away. Instead, it kind of feeds into the fire of me wanting to become that player that shocks everyone when my time comes.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Am Podcast, brought to you by Extreme Heat Sports and Fat Bars Records and Multimedia. We'll be back soon with another inspiring story from the voices of today. See you soon.